Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. It's November 6th, another beautiful Sunday here in Jacksonville, North Carolina. And today's weather had me thinking about a statement I made a few videos ago, so several weeks ago at this point, when we had a cold snap that came through the area. And I made a statement saying something like, I thought the fall weather is here to stay. And with today's weather, I could not have been any more wrong. So it is 83 degrees, just about 55%. It feels good, but that's right. First week in November, next week is Veterans Day, and it is in the low 80s. It's incredible. All right, hey, just a few stats to talk about. So, well, before I say that, the intent today is to conduct a quick inspection, top off the feeders, and treat for the second time the hives with the OA dribble, the liquid OA method. So here we go. So some stats. October 16th is when I moved a few frames into hive number 1, which is down in the 3rd position, that contained 3 or 4 queen cells. So that was 3 weeks ago. Those cells, well, one of those cells should have hatched by now. Hopefully that queen made it and has started to lay the next genetics or create the next genetics of that colony. So that's the key thing that I'm going to be looking for in hive number 1. And then speaking of treatment, the first OA treatment that I did for this half of the year or the fall was October 9th. So 4 to 5 weeks ago, here we are treating again in the same method. And that's it. Let's take a quick look at the activity. We'll start with hive number 7 down here. Can't really see much probably, but good activity. Actually, all the hives have good activity, to include number 3. And I'll walk a little closer. I don't have my veil on just yet, but yeah, number 1 and 2 are looking good. Number 3, that's in the screen right now, I've popped my head out here a few times over the last week, and they've had very nice activity all week long. 4, 5, and 6 just continue to be very strong. So, and the rest of the hives are just in place for spring preparation, because you always got to be thinking a season ahead. So yeah, there we go. That's all I'm really going to do. Quick inspection, pay extra attention or special attention to hive number 1. I'm really just going to probably going to pull a frame or 2 in the center, see if they have any eggs, and that'll be fantastic. Not terribly concerned with finding and marking the queen, but if I happen to do so, that's great. And then again, treating the colonies the second time this season with the liquid OA. Oxalic acid is what that stands for if you don't know. All right, let me get the smoker lid and let's get into them. All right, down here at hive number 1, let's give them some smoke. Pop the top and see what they're up to. Got the OA ready. Yeah, I've been watching the front entrances, like I said in the intro, and they've been bringing in the pollen from somewhere, so that's always good. I'm just going to move the top box off, get down into the bottom, pull a frame or 2 from the center, just seeing if the queen's still laying, which she should be. It should be a lot less though. But yeah, here, quick first look. Seems like a nice concentration of bees. I imagine the feeder's empty. So let's pull a center frame. Let's do a quick look. We're just checking for some eggs. Nice brood. Let's see, let me grab my flashlight. I don't say it too often these days, but this is a great tool to have. And let's see. Very small brood, or small larva surrounding some of the closed brood. Yeah, we got eggs. Got eggs right there. Actually just want to check the frame next to it, more so out of curiosity. See if it looks any better or worse. It's more like a food frame. On both sides, really. Let's check this side. Yeah, quite a few eggs throughout, and they actually have some food left, surprisingly. So to correct myself, they actually have a decent amount of food down in the feeder, and I'll show you that here in a second. I know I said I was only going to pull one frame, but how the bees are behaving has me kind of concerned, because they're a little erratic. Now granted, I found plenty of eggs to be comfortable with saying that they are queen right, and I have no doubt that they are, but I've noticed in colonies before when the bees are not exactly calm, a little more frantic than usual, and the tone. I remember that those colonies were actually queenless, and I think that has something to do with like when the pheromone wears off, the queen's pheromone. Let's just check these outer frames. Well, they have eggs, so I would imagine they have a queen here, and I'm pretty sure she was marked. Let's just do one more quick look. This is a lot more time than I plan to spend in any of the hives today. Alright, well, it's just something to keep in mind for next week. And she might be hiding. I'm sure you heard that, but I ended up dumping all the sugar water. It didn't smell bad, but I didn't feed them last week, so that was from 2 weeks ago. And if it's been as warm as it has been, which it has, in the 70s and 80s, I don't want to run the risk of the sugar water really spoiling this next week or so. Plus, if I have some fresh stuff, just give it to them, right? Oh, you know what I didn't really think of? I just completely removed the top box and set it aside, so no wonder if I can't find the queen. That was kind of foolish. Didn't realize that. Anyway, let me get this all situated back how it was. There we go. All right, gonna treat 5 milliliters in between each. There we go. Yeah, the queen may have moved up into the top box. Yeah, that's silly not to think about that. Let's take a quick look in here. All right. Just want to pull the center frame like I said I was. Check for some eggs and brood. Nice food. Looks like they're making use of the sugar water. You skip a frame or two and that's a nice food frame. Alright, they're getting a little restless. Just have to keep an eye on them for next time. So typically you just pull a frame, find some eggs, and call it a day and say they're queen right. It's not too many eggs, or not as many as I'd like to see, but I also have to keep in mind the time of year. Queens slow down a lot in the fall and winter. Alright, well hey, that is the longest video I think I have shot with one hive. So I'm just going to get into the rest of them. I'll probably do the typical first look, show you all what the boxes look like initially upon opening them up, and then I'm just going to top off the feeders and treat each one. So I'll show you anything interesting that comes up. All right, down here at the very next hive in the second position, I'm curious to see if the bees used all this feed, because the first hive, all right, that's better. Yeah, they used all this up. The very first hive probably had maybe a quarter a gallon of the sugar water left in the division board feeder, the feeder that's inside the hive. So I wasn't expecting that at all. I figured they would have used it all up in the last 2 weeks, because that's how long it's been since I've fed them. All right, same thing. I'm just going to jump down into the bottom box, slide the top box over. Quick first look for y'all. It's a nice amount of bees. They're pretty calm too. I'm just going to pull the center frame. Center frame or two is what I was trying to say. Got some capped honey, some nice food stores throughout. Kind of the same on this side. Grab my flashlight, just check for eggs. Now, I didn't think I was going to find any, just because the amount of food that appears to be on that frame. The queen may have moved up into the top box and started focusing the brood up there. That's a pretty full frame. Very calm. Very calm bees right now. A lot of food on this side too. And these other, well, the frame to my right looks like it has a lot of food, so let's look at the frame to the left here, which is the 7th. All right, here we go. There's some nice brood, and I bet you there's some eggs in the cells surrounding the capped brood. That looks pretty nice. The bees, to include the queen of the hive in the 2nd position, they are just taking it easy today. Look how calm they are and how slow and methodical the queen is moving. You might get to see her lay an egg in a cell. Alright, well, hey, this colony is definitely queen right. Extremely calm too, which is nice. Let's top off the feeder and call it a day. Alright, down here at hive number 1 in the 3rd position. This is the one I was talking about in the intro. Very curious to see if they have any eggs. Alright, quick first look. Not really much to look at. Looks like we got some bees that got trapped up here. They may have died with some of the overnight temps, which aren't terribly cold. Alright, so let's see. I'm just going to remove the top box, get right down into the bottom box. There are a few bees up in the top box, but let's see how the bottom box is looking. Quick first look. As you can see, this hive became a hodgepodge of frames from other hives. 2 from 5, 2 from 4, 3 from 4, 1 from 2, and we have a queen cell on this side and a queen cell here. So let's see what we have. Should have a hatched queen cell by now. I think in the intro I said that was about 3 weeks ago. So let's just jump into those. Actually, first I'm curious to see if they have any food. Yeah, that thing's completely empty. It's probably been empty for a week. Which is weird to me why hive number 1 didn't really use all of their food in the last 2 weeks. Alright, here we go. The big moment. Let's see if some of these queen cells have hatched. I think it said there was 2 on this side. Oh yeah, on the bottom here. So if you can see that or not, there was 2 queen cells there, and there are none now. So they definitely hatched. It's not the best frame. let me go frame by frame. Really checking for eggs like usual. If I find a queen, fantastic. I don't have my hopes up for that. But hey, you never know. I had quite a few colonies with drones still in them, which was not anything I really expected to see this time of year. All right, so I just looked at that frame. That was the first one. Here's the second frame that I believe I moved over from number 4 2 weeks ago. And yeah, that queen cell is completely destroyed. I'm just looking at the frame, see if I can find a queen. Trying to keep in mind she might be on the smaller side if she hasn't left to mate yet. Let me grab my flashlight just to check for eggs. The darker comb is hard to tell because I thought I saw something on the other side, but I wasn't too sure. Alright, yeah, I don't see any eggs just yet. Let's continue to move through the hive, keeping in mind I pulled the top box off, so I need to remember to look at that as well. Alright, yeah, I'm just going to move through the rest of the box and I'll show you anything interesting if I come across it. Alright, finished up the bottom box, looked through the top box. No real signs of brood or if they are queen right. However, it's still within the time frame, still within a month of finding those queen cells, the queen hatching, hanging out for a week maybe before going on the mating flight. So TBD right now. I'm just going to keep a close eye on them over the next week or two. This might be a colony that I end up combining with another colony, especially once the weather really starts to cool down. But I just wanted to show you all this real quick. They are packing away the sugar water or honey, nectar, and curing it to honey. So they're doing a good job of creating food stores.